Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining the final webinar of a series of 3 that we've been running over the last 2 or 3 months. My name is Terry, and I'm a project director for iplanit. And we're joined today by Siobhan, who is doing some technical support for us. So I'm going to do a couple of slides, tell you a little bit about iplanit, not too long. A couple of slides about iplanit, and then we'll just dive straight into the system and start exploring the system. And I've got a kind of a pathway I want to show you, lots of different reports. So this is the third in a series of 3 webinars. So we wanted to show you the whole system approach of iplanit. So right from somebody coming in through referral, then through to planning and outcomes, notes and logs, lots of planet support tasks, kind of tracking medication and meals and other care aspects, but also notes and logs and the communication between the team and the outcomes and really driving that change. And then, so that we did that in the last webinar, and then this webinar is looking at more from the management side, key performance indicators, tracking evidence, raising the quality standards. And then just briefly at the end, just because it kind of fits in, I'll show you just really brief what the incident management reports look like. So these webinars are pretty quick in terms of like we cover a lot of ground. But if you're interested in a more in-depth demonstration, you just get in touch with us. We'll do an online demo. Sometimes we can come out and do one on site as well. So do get in touch if you're interested in seeing in a bit more detail. These are kind of like high-end presentations. Okay, so really quickly, what is iplanit? If you haven't seen it before, iplanit's flexible, modular cloud-based system. You can kind of design your own iplanit in a sense, and it's to help plan and record all types of support needs. Originally started out as a system predominantly around support needs for people with learning disabilities and their planning needs, but that footprint has really expanded over the last 7 or 8 years because it started off with the principles of support being person-centered, and that applies to any kind of support. And that technical footprint as well, the actual things that iplanit can do now go way beyond planning. They kind of have an umbrella of a lot of direct support and management needs. So at the moment, it's enabling thousands of supporters and service leaders across the world. So UK, Ireland, New Zealand, Australia. So it's helping them to kind of keep the promise that as support workers, as support organizations, our promise ultimately broadly is to help people improve their lives, keep them safe from unnecessary risk, and offer appropriate transparency, which is becoming more and more important, the transparent aspect of support. So people supported can access, and the loved ones can also access iplanit. It's an inclusive system, so people supported can access it, their families can access it. It really makes it very easy to access what's going on in somebody's life in terms of the support they're receiving from the provider. So just try that point home about being person-centered system. Actual architecture of the system is person-centered as well, which covered it a bit in the last webinar, but it's designed around people. It's not really designed around staff. Staff are very, very important, but if the person is at the center of the planning, then that becomes a very, very powerful tool in reporting, which I'm going to show you on the demo. So it's not a staff tracking system. It's a person-centered system that tracks outcomes and positive change in people's lives, which is really, the fundamental principles we need to come back to when we think about reports and KPIs and so on. We can kind of get lost in figures, but if those figures and statistics aren't driving positive change, then it's really an academic exercise. So our principles are Aspirico, which is the company that makes iplanit, are about evidence and value, inclusion, transparency, and accountability. And hopefully today's demo will show you that from a management perspective, because there's the aspect of direct support where it's good quality support and care can help improve somebody's life. But we're going to look at it from a leadership level today and how senior managers can drive positive change by keeping the quality standards up, by being able to access what's going on in their support services quickly and be able to offer the right support or correction in those courses. So there is we always like to refer back to this as values-based system, but it's also very, very powerful in its reporting, and the two aren't mutually exclusive, they go hand in hand. So this is very quickly a bird's eye view of what iPlanet looks like. The center circle, the green circles, that's the core iPlanet system. Everybody who rolls out iPlanet gets that functionality. And then the blue squares on the outside, the bolt-ons, what provider might say, well, we need a referral system, so we'll add that on, or we need a calendar system for the people we support, so we'll add that on. So those on the outside don't kind of come as standard, but you kind of pick and choose what might be relevant to you. So the core iPlanet is notes, plans, document management workflow, tracking outcomes, which goes across the other side of the circle with the KPIs, and then we'll be looking at that today. So we'll show you that link today. There's an electronic filing cabinet, to store files, media, all sorts of different things. There's a dashboard, which we're going to look at today, helps managers organize their time and keep on top of lots and lots of different information. Because I think as there's more and more regulation, and as we try and raise the standard in support that we deliver, lots more information starts to fly about, and that can kind of be overwhelming for a lot of managers, kind of middle management level of direct and services to upper management level, where they're just trying to collate information across the whole organization. That can really be overwhelming, difficult, time consuming, expensive. So the dashboard will give you a glimpse of how powerful iPlanet can be, whilst not losing out on those values. As I say, it's not just a numbers game. And then on the outside, we've got referrals, needs assessment, surveys, calendar, clinical care planning around meds and so on, support tasks about tracking the delivery of specific tasks that need to be done, funding and budgets. If you can include a module that helps track support delivered against the cost of the service. It's a lot of our Australian customers use that system because it fits in with the support delivery there, and some UK customers also use that because of the block contracts they have and how they need to evidence that support is being delivered and that they're meeting their budget. There's a staff qualification, so you can, it's a bit of a HR thing there, but it also lets you see that make sure that you're not sending unqualified staff to the wrong places. And then event and incident management, which we've done webinars on that in the past, because that's a very new module, and we'll do webinars again about that. But also I'm going to show you what the reports look like today, not necessarily how the event incident management works, but just the report side of it. It's called event incident management because it's not just about incidents as in kind of a negative thing that's happening, because it can also be compliments. So there's a compliment to complaint. So it could be a near miss, there could be health and safety, it could be a staff issue, it could be a person supported issue. It's not just incidents as in relating to the person, it covers quite a broad area. And then finally, location management, which is a module about, as I say, iPlanet is a system that tracks what's going on in people's lives, but occasionally, a couple of people could live together and they need to know that the electrics have been checked in that accommodation or in their home, or they need to know that a piece of equipment is there and is being serviced, and so on. So there's a kind of a side module that lets you track lots of different things that are related to a location. Now, the important thing about iPlanet is it's really, really configurable. So it's there to match your systems and how they work at the moment. So the plans, how you want to, if you want to track something on locations, the incident management, everything is configurable to how you work. It's it's not an off-the-shelf product. It's something that we work with you during implementation to make sure we use your language, to make sure it reflects how you work. So that when I'm one of the trainers, and when I train iPlanet to the direct support staff and their managers, we work very, very hard to make sure that they recognize the language and the processes and the sections and how, what the communication book is called and things like that. So we really make it bespoke so that staff are learning how to use iPlanet rather than having to relearn their whole systems for the organization. It's really, really important. So this, what we've got in front of us now, is a download that I sent and Siobhan sent us a couple of weeks ago for people who registered. It looks quite busy. But it is quite, well, I'm going to say it's simple, but it's the principles are very simple, and it kind of just reflects how the reports are kind of put together. So on that bottom line, that blue line, are the kind of things that staff and direct support staff and their managers will get involved in. So things like referral management, doing a needs assessment, plans and reviews, setting outcomes, making notes and logs, the communication books and so on, risk assessments, and then further on the incidents, from the incident, managing incidents, and then lastly financial. Those are the kind of things direct support staff are involved in, and that is where all of the reports are derived from. So there are no reports that need any kind of manual input. Everything captured at the point of support, which means as your staff are interacting with iPlanet, they're updating your reports as a manager and as a leader. So it means everything is up to date. And that's really important, because when things are on paper or you have to rely on people filling in spreadsheets and so on, firstly, it's kind of dead static information. But secondly, there's a time lag there. So you're kind of planning with a rear view mirror approach, thinking of looking at your reports as to maybe they were up to date a month to 6 weeks ago at best. Whereas with iPlanet, the reports we're looking at are as up to date as of that day, because everything is captured at source. So if we just take an example, say plans and reviews there, the pink boxes, if we follow that line up, firstly, there's an interface there, which is the dashboard, which I'm going to show you. That kind of puts everything, or lots of different reports, into a useful, easy to use, meaningful system for staff to interact with on a daily to see where plans and reviews are. And the same to the right there, the green with the outcomes. So those two things, we follow those lines up, we can kind of see task completion and performance, plan types, how many plans there are, how many types there are, how many plans have been reviewed, how many are late, how many are early, why they're late, plan sections, which is a favorite of mine, how the plans are being filled in across the organization. Are there any sections that are not being filled in? So I'm going to touch on that later. And being able to export all of that to PDF, look at the outcomes, and we can see what outcomes are linked to KPIs, to key performance indicators. So how are we evidencing the key performance indicators of external bodies, or as well as our own internal KPIs? How do we make that link between the outcome and the broader goal for the organization? We're going to touch on that, and there are reports there that do that. And that second box up, that green box where it says statutory KPI, bespoke KPI, again, it just goes back to the point that iPlanet is configurable, so you can put all of your own key performance. Either if you have your own kind of standards and values or a charter, it might be that you can turn them into standards that you want to measure your performance against on iPlanet, so you can input your own key performance indicators. I won't go through the whole thing, we'll jump into the system now, but I just wanted to show you that if you just follow the lines up, you can kind of, although it's quite busy, it just shows you some of the reports that iPlanet can generate, and they're all quite easy to use, but we're going to fly through it now when we go onto the system. But before we do, the last point I wanted to make before we go on is just coming back to that values point. We're going to look at reports, and we're going to get kind of into numbers, but there has to be meaning behind the numbers. And I think when you're want to thread values through your organization, you kind of start with person-centered principles. There's the planning and the outcome side, and then finally there's the report on what's happening with that. And those reports can be the key performance indicators. So these key performance indicators can thread through all of that. You can have your planning informed by the key performance indicators, or your key performance indicators can just be measurements against what you're doing with your planning. Really, it's really up to you. But the point with iPlanet is that it brings these things together. With the foundation of values and person-centered principles, you can build on that and have really meaningful key performance indicators. In my experience, key performance indicators that are imposed on us, sometimes we can just do a paper exercise to kind of say, yes, we do this, this is the evidence we can provide for that, and so on. And we're kind of writing things to meet key performance indicators rather than having key performance indicators drive real change. Our goal is to kind of secure that funding, or to make sure that we're in line with key performance indicators, rather than allowing them to kind of thread into our organization and drive positive change. And if we have that foundation of values, then that becomes a much more meaningful exercise.